Welcome everybody. In this short video we're going to verify two more trigonometric differentiation formulas. The one on the left, derivative of secant. We're going to verify that derivative of secant is equal to secant x tangent x. And on the right we have derivative of cosecant, which ends up being negative cosecant cotangent. And to get started, so on the left hand side what we're gonna do, we're gonna use the fact that secant is equal to 1 over cosine x and do derivative according to the quotient rule, since this is the quotient 1 over cosine x. So now, according to quotient rule, we should be doing derivative of the top, so derivative of 1 times cosine x minus 1 times derivative of the bottom, derivative of the cosine. And all of that is over cosine of x squared. So now we can use the derivatives. So derivative of 1, derivative of the constant is 0. We have 0 times cosine x. Derivative of cosine is negative sine, so we have negative 1 times negative sine. All of that over the square of cosine. Okay, so then this is just sine x over cosine squared x. Why so? Well, 0 times cosine, multiplication by 0 cancels this entire expression out, and then we have negative 1 times negative sine, which reduces to just positive sine, and we still have cosine squared here. So if we want to, we can use this form, but if we want to write it simpler, we can work a little bit. So we can split cosine squared into cosine x times cosine x, and now we're gonna split it some more. So we're gonna keep sine x over cosine x, and then we're gonna pull off this cosine x as 1 over cosine x. So now we definitely have that sine over cosine is tangent, and 1 over cosine is secant. So we have that this is tangent secant. Tangent x times secant x. And this is sometimes convenient to have it in this form. With cosecant, we're going to proceed in similar fashion. We're going to use that cosecant x is 1 over sine x and apply quotient rule. So if we start doing derivatives, it's derivative of 1 over sine x. And going on, this is quotient rule, so we're doing derivative of 1 times sine x minus 1 times derivative of sine x. So it's derivative of top times the bottom minus top times derivative of the bottom. All of that divided by derivative, the square of sine x. Okay, so again, derivative of 1 is 0, derivative of sine is cosine. And in denominator we have sine squared x. Great. So then 0 times sine makes this entire term disappear, and we have negative cosine x in numerator. So all in all, we're going to get negative cosine x, all of that over sine squared x. Okay, and this is one of the forms that we may use this answer. But to change it a little bit, we can again split sine squared x into sine x times sine x. That's what it is after all. And we're going to pull off this sine x from denominator as 1 over sine x. So now we see that we have negative cosine x over sine x times 1 over sine x, and then cosine over sine gives us cotangent, and 1 over sine is cosecant. So this ends up being negative cotangent x times cosecant x.